Hi everyone. Today we're talking with Ondrej Lipold. He is the principal at Tensor Ventures. At Tensor Ventures, they are investing in the future with deep tech innovations, stuff like the rise of AI, quantum revolution, computational biotech, and sustainable tech. Welcome, Ondrej. How are you doing?
Very good. Thank you, Ricardo, for inviting me, and I'm really enjoying the talk which we had before. So let's hope it will continue in this manner.
Great, Ondrej. So I know that I mentioned your role and your title, and we can talk a lot about that in next. But meantime, I think we will trying of making a time traveling mission now and and talk about how did you arrive to be a principal of Tension Venture. So maybe you can tell us, what is your background a bit and what was the path for you to arrive to VC funding and
Yeah,
more specifically into deep tech, which is a niche, let's say, inside of all this VC funding area, right?
it's really interesting that because when you look at like a VC world itself, it's a really niche of itself in investment world or in general, and the deep tech VC is like so more special in this manner because you are focusing in like new dimension to the whole process there. So for me, like my VC journey began, I could say, like before the school, because when I was finishing my bachelor, I actually spent like half a year on Sri Lanka, and it was really interesting moment because it was I think 7 years after their 30-year civil war ended. So it was really interesting space to walk into because the revolution, like the digital revolution which we had before, and the mainly VCs were supporting that, which already was here, was beginning there. So I was one of the first people who were actually helping the banks, the corporates, and the big companies who could actually afford to have like digital presence, to build websites, to make software, to have some apps, and to make first steps into into the digital world, which has been I think lately really the main topic when we're discussing a VC itself. But it's changing a little bit from this point of view as the deep tech and more technological way is getting into it. And it was really nicely shown. Like for me personally, it began with Busyman, which was a business network which was supporting really early startups, mainly from Czech Republic, but also from abroad. And my role was basically to prepare the pitch deck, to prepare the presentation, to set up the organization of the whole pitch events and so on, and then to persuade the investors to invest in it, and at the same time defending the best interest of the investors there. And I think it gave me quite a lot because the people who I was talking to were mainly like traditional angels, like the business guys from 90s and from even before, who had like this really like strict point of view on the things, and their like business experience mixed in every meeting which we had with them. And at the same time, basically my like deep tech arm started to emerge too, because as I was helping projects to get the funding from investors, uh, I was um, I was contacted by people from academia, Czech academia, and Czech universities that hey guys, you have investors, and we have interesting projects. So let's try to make it up and see like what we can do together. And the story went that it was back then Transfera and INI Prague, with which I'm in communication right now. And actually, it ended up that they sent it like a six professors, and each of these professors were like talking to me for like 1 or 2 hours and explaining like their really complex technology to me in like really excited manner. And after like 1 or 2 hours, I was telling them, okay, so this is like a filter for nanomaterials. I was like, yeah, finally somebody understands it. And I said, like, why didn't you say so like immediately, like what it is? And they were so surprised that like somebody got them, because they were really used to the people who are like trying to just like get money from them, or somehow like manipulate them into something. And they were like honestly, honestly, like surprised that like there's someone who was trying to like help them with getting the investments, getting on board, and so on. After that, there was like first initiative of like Czech Technology Transfer Day, which was a collaboration with Czech universities and research centers, and they're based on that they're basically presented us with I think 32 of the really scientific researches, and we were the first investors who were communicating with them and trying to get them feedback. So it was really interesting back then. It gave me a lot. I think that like many investors and funds I'm talking to who are beginning to explore these topics are like stumbling on the same problems I had like 2018 or something like that when we were like doing this. And at the same time, I was mainly in like VC world. And back then, for me, it was like two ways, like almost two different directions, because like traditional VC and like scientific research was like not at the time really connected in Czech Republic, at least. So after that, I decided to move on, and I went to the Up 21, which was back then incubator. We shifted that to the venture fund, and from that we shifted it to family office of Karel Janeček, who was like the sole owner of the money. So it was a really interesting experience from the point of view of like clear business from that side. And we are also organizing at the same time the Disruptor Summit, which I believe we met there at least once. And it was an event where we were putting together all the investors and like all the interesting projects from all of Europe, and basically trying to get them on the San Francisco big competition. And the winner usually got like 1 million of potential investment from the fund I was working for, and the second fund which was partnering with that. And I think it was after 2.5 years or something like that when I met Martin Diderot, who's like GP, general partner of Tensor Ventures. And I was actually pitching him my idea. I was telling him about this platform I was building and trying to connect the environment, the startup environment, which is really challenging for sure. But I got some mock-ups and so on. So he told me like that he really liked it, and he needs a little bit more. He finds it like really interesting, and asked me like if I want to like help them with the fund and doing something together. So I decided to move there as a principal, and since then I'm here in Tensor Ventures and supporting really interesting technologies. For me, it was really surprising to see like how much depth you can go into when you're talking to like to real technology companies, and ability to like see the topics and the industries in like bigger picture. So that's something I really got from the last, I think, 1.5 year I'm here. And for me, it was like an interesting journey. So I'm really glad that I'm here and I'm helping with all the things which are doing. Now I helped to launch the second fund we have. It's for 50 million approximately, and we have like 20 million from EIF, which is supporting technological projects here in Czech Republic and abroad. And we are in process of preparing for the first close. So lots of stuff, and I'm really glad that I'm part of it.
Good. So we will put a pin into the fonts and the details.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, we will talk about that in the upcoming questions. But I wanna, before arriving there, like I know that okay, now you have been working in VC funds and for some years now. Yeah, what are some of the values that you consider are working for you into this? So is this, how are you scouting startups and trying to figure out what is going to be the next big thing or what is going to be sustainable in the long term? So I'm more talking that in your sector of deep tech, we're talking about really big moonshots maybe. And
Okay.
yeah, how do you value these? Yeah, how do you evaluate those projects from your perspective, or if you have some principles to guide you into how to approach that understanding of the companies. Yeah.
I think first, like, person should like really understand the topic in which like the company is trying to get in. And this is not just for DeepTech. I see like universal, like many of the founders are like just so excited with what they're doing that they're not looking outside and actually not building it for the market, but for themselves, for them to be happy, basically, which is not bad at such, but it's really limiting in question of the potential and where it can get to. And like for me personally, like I think the most important part is to like know the industry and how does it work and be aware like what are these challenges and what the challenges will be in 2 years at least, and then trying to fit a right technology which is trying to get there. Because if you look at like all the revolutions, like industrial revolutions or like some really successful companies, they were not just like at the right moment or the right time, but then they had the right approach and the right methodology and the right speed and so on. But it was always that like industry went somewhere and there was someone who will like fit right exactly on the need of the industry. And from my point of view, it's like feeling that this particular thing will fit the flow which is going right now. Yes, there is another way how to say, okay, it will disrupt it. But the disruption always comes from like some specific needs and like some challenges which are facing the industry. So if you have like two slow horses, you cannot scale the horses, so to say. Like if you add like 6 horses to your wagon, it will not go faster. So there's like physical limitation in the approach you're doing. So there needs to be a revolution. And the revolution was like the time cars, like steam cars. And it was done by not like changing direction of the industry, but making like great in the sense of like shifting to another like dimension, so to say. And I believe if you find a project which is helping to shift the dimension of the industry it's working for example, like semiconductor industry, we hit the limit of physical possibilities, atoms, which are consisting the semiconductors, like the chips. Like we cannot go like smaller. Maybe yes, but I don't know how. So we are literally putting individual atoms together. So there needs to be some shift, which will get us on another S curve, which will allow us to scale our computational power in this manner. And I believe if you find something which is something like that, it's going to be a unicorn. And of course, there needs to be a great team, and there needs to be a right moment, and you need to have the right funding, and all the partners has to go there, like all the mixture. But this is like essence. Like without like if you change anything from this, it can somehow maybe work. But if it's not building something which is like fit the market, it's like it can be great, but it will not get there, so to say. So I
Okay.
believe this is for me, like.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. So I think maybe even because we have been mentioning deep tech a lot, but we haven't even defined it for maybe some people who are not really into deep tech, which I assume there are some people who, of course, it's a terminology that we are using, but so how would you explain this in some familiar terms for people who are not into this area? Yeah, what makes it different from other types of tech startups?
Like for me personally, like deep tech represents advanced technology which has behind it either like a research or some like extensive knowledge or data which will help you to create a defensibility which like not allowing like which is not allowing other competition to get into your topic easily. So for me, it's basically like the level above of what they're doing and ability to create a difference with the technology we have. I'm not like gonna like tell that general like technology or soft shallow tech is bad. It's just a different use case and a different layer of working. Like if you want to have like a great B2B SaaS, it's great, and I believe it will go like really like smoothly, and it can make lots of money. That's great, but like the deep tech usually is like moving the industry further. Like it's changing. Like if you take like any great progress which has been done for like last 60 years, it always has been driven by deep tech. Yeah, either like if what like semiconductors, I mean like transistors, it has been like with AI, like this discovery of transformers, and like there is usually like some key which unlocks a new possibility, which is then creating business opportunities from all around the world. But it's always unlocked by some like really advanced technology or some different approach with current technology, which then allows for the like general change to happen. So for me, deep tech is some advanced technology which is some like research or some extensive knowledge behind it.
Yeah, if may I ask, or if may I comment into that, like from the point of view that I would make an analogy of with the infrastructure, right? Like the deep tech company would be building the infrastructure so that someone else
Yeah,
can build on
exactly.
top of that, right? Maybe that's also an analogy on that.
Yeah, that's a good example.
Yeah, well, of course, if we wouldn't have semiconductors chips before, like we wouldn't even talking today with this call, right? Like we don't have.
Exactly. Like as I was mentioning, like if you have some B2B SaaS, it has to be built on something. So there has to be cloud, there has to be like computational power, there has to be like a window on which you look at the you look at the software. Yeah, that there needs to be a like electric like transition between it, like signal, Wi-Fi. Like there's so much things which are like enabling this like shallow taxonomy. So that there's like a huge space which can to be tapped to before you get even to the B2B SaaS. So there's much interesting topics which can be interesting in this space to invest. So
Exactly. Um, since we are in this topic already, can you share an example of a deep tech company that you are excited at the moment? That it can be from your portfolio or it can be outside of your portfolio.
yeah, like I'm gonna go to our portfolio because I'm really excited about like several of them that are. I think the one I'm like the most excited is it's Biotech. Actually, it's a company from Spain. It has been established by Pablo Vicarte, and he's actually like Spain 30 under 30. And he built and biobatteries, which has like microbacteria inside of it, and it generates or harnesses electricity, which is driven by the plant growth, and it powers up a light which is shining on the plant there. Uh, it sounds really sci-fi that the plants are powering the electricity, but it's actually working. And they are the main supplier of the city of Neom, which is being built in Saudi Arabia with the biotech technologies, but are actually head of cluster, which is like suppliers of the city with biotech. And he's successfully progressing there, and with like several other cities which are being built around the Saudis, because there has been like many cities and projects like that which has been activated. And he's just unstoppable. Like he's great. Like the founder, like he perfectly understands what he's doing, and he perfectly knows like what he wants to achieve in the world, and he's going for that, and he's adjusting on the way, such that like that he's going to succeed. Like it's so obvious with him that like you wouldn't believe. Like when you're talking to him, it's like it's obvious that he's gonna succeed in some way or other. And I think that's really interesting technology. And the second thing is QC82, and they're building basically a photonic quantum computer, which, like, if you imagine quantum computer, there are several parts, like chip. They're like designing a chip, and in order to get there, you need to like have several layers of technology before you get to that. So there needs to be several steps which you need to take to basically get to the product at the end of the road. And he's actually in program organized by DARPA, US DARPA. And the program was called that they wanted to support the projects who are able to build the quantum computers. And 100 projects from all around the world applied there, and only 3 got there. Microsoft, C Quantum, which has received like 500 million, and this project. And they're successfully moving through the phases, and we think it's going to be really interesting, this one. Like really interesting. So this is like the thing I have in mind.
So if I understood, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a third one, but we haven't, like, we are planning to announce it next week. And I'm not going to say the name, but they're building something like operational system for FPGA chips. And FPGA chips means basically that if you have a fabrication of the chips, there are like basically 2 types: the ones who are like set up from the fab, from the fabrication, and the second one which are programmable. And they're actually doing something like operation system for the programmable ones. And it's a huge, because there are like 20 people in the whole world who knows how to do it, and we get several of them in the project. So it's really nice, and I think it's gonna be a very interesting project there.
Well, if it helps, actually, since this will be released later on, so maybe you can mention the name, so it's not gonna be published.
I think it should go out next week. So they're called Dynamic. They're from Technical University of Brno. And the guys actually are ex-founders. They have already exited technology to Intel. And we got them several investors. One of those were like a Czech person from Intel. And he got to himself like another like from AMD and from Texas Intel. So we got like really strong co-investors there who are able to support the founders with like really strong contacts, like in like upper management of the big companies, like NVIDIA, Intel, AMD, and so on. So we are really looking forward to see where it gets. It's fun. Yeah, and I think it's really exciting because we actually found out that like it's a first project from this university which got investment, and we haven't done that. So we are really glad that we can support like our universities and research institutes in Czech Republic.
Okay, yeah, maybe it will be the door, like the opening the door to have more and more projects from the university.
Because they're like really interesting ones, and we are talking to them that like some of them are really like soon, like really early, but it's always that like there's like just a small piece missing, and once you fill it, it's going big. And I think there's a potential for sure in like Czech universities and academics, research centers, and I think we are able to tap into it because we have like really like good relationship with them and really good connections and like understand them, which is I think really important because when you have a DeepTech project, it's always like that the mentality is a little bit different than in normal like general project, because it's a little bit different rules. When you have like generalist or like shallow tech or like digital assets or so on, it's usually mainly about the quickness or speed, execution, and the team, which is also important in the DeepTech. But the principle is a little bit different because you have to also have like really strong technology layer, and you have to be aware of the industry which is going in, because it's really easy to not have a fit there. And
Yeah, I was wondering, and I'm not sure if I interrupting you because you wanted to say something else. Feel free to tell me.
because I realized that this may be like another like interesting topic for like discussion, like the difference between like DeepTech and generals.
Yeah, I wanted to, well, because there's maybe the next question I wanted to make, but I assume is a bit related. So maybe I will mention the question in general, and then maybe I will later mention one specific on assuming the, yeah, and just maybe I am thinking too much now, but it's like I will come back to the question and then I will maybe make another comment based on your answer. So the question is, yeah, what kind of challenges do you see deep tech startups typically facing? And maybe, of course, in that context, you can compare it to what you're calling shallow tech. Now I'm feeling bad if I'm working in
No, let's
B2B.
not call it shallow. Let's call it let's call it like a generalist or
Hmm.
specialized, because
Yeah,
like the shallow tech sound, it's offense, but it's not. It's just like a different approach. That's all.
layer, yeah.
Layer. It's different layer. And I feel like a general tech or there's usually like generalist VC or specialized VC, and specialized VC doesn't have to be deep tech. It can be like climate tech, for example, in case of TLAB, because they're
Exactly.
specialized in that. So I think that's a good good approach to that. So difference between generalist and deep tech, so to say.
Yeah, yeah. I just want to clarify. I'm just kidding in general about
No, for
that. But
sure.
yeah,
I believe like there are like great. I think there are like many great like normal like technologies like or applications, software, which are just like filling a gap which has not been here, and they have like been super successful at that. And I think that's totally okay. It's just that like as we see it and as we experience for like several years now, because of the COVID and Ukraine, and so there has been like more push towards defensibility of the project and ability to stand in the sense of competition. And at the same time, as the AI wave approached, it made like a traditional technologies really accessible and like simple to reach. That if you want to like have an edge, you need to have like something about that. For example, like if you have like a programmatic layer, like you have a hardware that you have a, like first like coding or language above that, and then you have another language, and eventually you get to the visuals, to the like
yeah,
how does it look like Windows, for example. So it's like, for example, to get a software in like 4 5 years back, it was really expensive because most of the programming was done like by hand, so to say. But once the, I mean, you don't have to go 4 years; it's like 3 years. Once the AI basically was able to replicate anything which has some strict rules and something like programmable, the barrier to create anything in the soft layer got really low. And that's something which was like the defensive aspect of the technologies which were supported mainly by VCs for last 12 years. And it's just like like just with the horses, like it's natural, like we need to get to the higher levels to get an edge for
yeah.
investments we make. So it's like natural. So it's not like if you remember, computers were initially like manipulated or controlled just by the orders, shikazi, just by
By the
writing
keyboard,
a
yeah.
set of code. Yeah, just by keyboard. So we needed to like move to the like higher level by I think it was Macintosh, by having like some visual representation of what's actually happening there. So to program or to do something on computer were like able to do for just a few people who are able to do it. But with another visual level, which is understandable by the people, you access it to the much more broader scale of the people. So with this, like the software is now much more accessible to the like average person who can like literally like generate a code and write an app than it was like 3 years before. So
Yeah.
there's like needs to be another layer or another edge which you need to achieve to be able to get to an advantage, to basically get advantage and have a probability of being bought as a startup.
Okay. And if
And to
may
your
I, yeah, yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
yeah. And to your question, like the main challenges which are DeepTech facing is like you're talking to tech guys. So like all the problems which you can imagine, which have like techie people, they are having, for example. And they're so much in love with technology, and it's great. That's the reason why they are doing it, of course. But like the most often case is that they're literally building it so it's perfect. And I think that's a big mistake, especially in Czech Republic, because we are taught like this in school about it. And we just need to get to the founders need to get to the point that, okay, now it's enough. And now I'm going outside. The founders are, yeah, they need to get to the mental state that I need to finish it so it's ready to be launched and not like perfect. And for this reason, they are not looking much outside. And I think that's a big shame. They're not like understanding much how to get to the market. So they have great technology, but they don't know how to talk about it. And it's usually like really useful if they have someone in the team or at least external who's advising that and guiding them with that. Yeah, towards like a business mindset. Because what is like a real challenge for like venture capitalists who are also in deep tech, that they need to understand the technology, but at the same the business. And it's best combination if you have it in the founders, but some just don't have it, and that's maybe not bad. Some just need to be meant to do science, but there usually needs to be someone who's driving the business, because then it's like totally the same approach as if you have like any other startup or any other technology. So
Okay.
like lack
So
of like business knowledge, so to say.
got it. So you need to create some kind of dating site between scientists and business people or something like that.
Yeah, but you need to make it in need to make it in one team. So they understand
Exactly.
each other and they are planning with each other, which is like sometimes hard to do, but like possible. Really.
Okay. And well, how does it work for you guys in Tensor Ventures on the into when do you feel like the project is investment ready, right? Because you have mentioned that they are too focused into the scientific aspects and they are loving that, and of course they are trying to make it perfect. So when is the right time that you enter to invest as a seed investor or in bigger stages, right? So how is there anything that it needs to have a business case or something like that, as you mentioned, or how do you feel into okay, when is the right time to invest?
Yeah. I would say like it's different for each vertical, because for example in
Mhm.
AI you need something like a little bit more advanced and have something a little bit ready, because the space is moving such a quick pace. Like every week, like a new breakthrough is being done every day, and it's really hard to keep up if you don't have something already done. And in regards to biotech, it's totally different, or tech bio. It's totally different story, because you need to have like really strong research behind it first, and then you're doing some like basic POCs and getting a relationship with the big pharma. In regards to quantum computers or quantum technology as such, there is possibility of having like some POCs in the matter of like sensing, quantum sensing or quantum cryptography, but usually it's long research in the future. And in general, I would say like the technology, some demonstration of technology is already there, and there are some like POCs with the companies, because as I was mentioning, the biggest problem with the technology founders is that they are not looking outside. So I need the technology to be already proven by someone external who's already either using it or trying to use it, because that's a validation that the technology is not just being done for itself, but there's like real use, and someone already told, okay, this already has some potential. Someone from the business, and he's actually like willing to pay for that, not in like manner that they are paying already, but at least in the future. So for example, you have like some new material, you don't have to like manufacture it in big way, but there's usually some like prototype or MVP or some small amount, and you supply it to some facility, and they are testing it in their facility, and that's a good validation that the project is actually feasible.
Got it. Since we are talking on this communication between you guys as a VC fund and scientific projects or projects are coming from a university or with this deep technical background, right? So what do you see that is typically that founders overlook or they don't take care much when preparing to pitch you guys? Or is there something specifically that you can mention? It can be the most common mistakes that people are doing.
I would want to say that they are too much technical, but sometimes it's like the opposite is a problem, that they're so used to talking to funds who just understand the business that they like skip the technology part. And sometimes like we had this meeting with this founder which we are investing right now. It was a really interesting technology, and he was like explaining the story and explaining background, quickly the technology, the progress and so on. But it was such a like shallow discussion that we had like really like backing up to the like, okay, now let's focus just on technology. Explain it to us. Like tell us like the nuts and bolts of it. Like how does it work? What's behind it? What's the language you're using? Is there a SQL? Like what is the tech stack you're using for it? And we were really trying to understand like the guts of the technology. And he was so unused to it that he didn't want to go there because he thought that he will like destroy the discussion. And we were like, no, good, go a level deeper. It's like, how does it work? Well, you write this and this will return and it will take some information. No. Like go one layer deeper. Well, there's this like language and it sends it like this. No, like even and we got to the level that like, okay, you send this information, then the next step in the chain is this. They go to the documents or they go to the data, like some like a special like program, and they retrieve it. They and literally we went like this step by step what's happening there, and that was the point when we said, okay, it's interesting. Yeah, because up until it was like, yeah, we have this and this and it's work like this. Like it's like a small DD for each of our call. So like be prepared for it, technical questions. And another thing is that like so much Czech founders and CEE are like so small ambitions. Like, wow, we're making like 2,000 on this product. Man, that's not enough. Like you have to here. Well, but no. You have to look it from like top down also, not just bottom up. And I had this discussion with this founder, and 1 hour I was talking to them like he should scale the financial plan, not to fake it, but scale it. And he was like, oh, I don't know. After 2 weeks, he was we had another call, and he was like, "Yeah, I was talking to these American VCs and European VCs and like the big ones, and they'll be the thing you said to me." So yes, I guess it's right. But so we need to get out of our mentality of 10 million people. We need to get mentality of at least 500,000,000 of potential of what VTech can do, and like from that build the product, because there's like different mindset when you're looking at like this and different approach. And I think that's such an important thing the founder to have, not to be delusional or to have like too much vision. No, but to have like, and it comes with the knowledge of the industry. Yeah, to have awareness of what's possible and where he's going, and that's really important.
Yeah, it's maybe how to have that global perspective, not only the local perspective. And yeah, even if you don't arrive to that goal, I assume you will arrive maybe half of it, and it's gonna be big
Yeah,
enough, right? Because it will be different, that the type of partnerships, types of hiring, and everything before, than thinking, okay, I just want to increase it 10% here, and okay, 10%, you just need this
yeah,
small change, right?
yeah. Another like too much is, for example, in US, it's like, "Ah, we're going to be 1 million more, 1 million% more." No, it's delusional. But to be something between like US approach and Czech approach, something like in the middle. But it's always like that. That's true.
Yeah, something I actually even see some days ago was also in some pitch of someone which was potentially to collaborate with, but then something that is kind of a cliche, I think, and I think maybe it's a cliche for VCs, but they were describing that they wanted to target the 1% of the market, right? So it was like,
It's like, oh my God, that literally telling, I don't know what I'm doing. Literally, that's like, I like, if we get just 1%, like, yeah, I can also tell if I get like 1% of the world GDP, I will be really rich. That's a nice thing. But do I know how to get there? I don't think so. So it's like reachable. There needs to be at least a vision of how to get there. Yeah, it doesn't have to be fixed. Doesn't have to be step by step. But like, if you take like 10 big players in the field, are they having 1%? Are they having more? How long did it take them? How much investment did it take them? Yeah, so uh, there needs to be, of course, the ability to see like big goals, but also the ability to base it on something. And if you base it smartly, you can get there. Yeah.
yeah, I think, well, at least my perspective, and maybe you can tell me if I am wrong or not, or what are your thoughts into that. But I see that more bringing into, of course, you need to be optimistic, but also be realistic, right? Like you have this big goal, and let's say my goal is to, let's say, reach out these 500,000,000 people worldwide with my technology. But okay, that's good as a vision, right? But now, okay, what I need to happen this quarter to achieve that? If it's gonna be, I don't know, closing the first 10 customers, which maybe is 0.000 whatever point of that 5 billion, but at least you already know, okay, if I close these guys, then they will give me the platform to the next level and the next level, right? So,
Yeah. And I think it's like really important, like not maybe like step by step, but even like about like thinking the prime market size, like the whole market with, I don't know, semiconductors is big size, this size. Then like this specific chip is like sold like this amount. And this chip has like this specific vertical inside of it, which is this amount. And there are like 10 big players in it who are support like who are doing like the main turnaround there. And there is a space which is the rest. And I'm targeting part of the space. But I want to get to the big players. So something like this is like, yes, you know what you're doing. And we need to see that, because if you're going for 5,000 500K and or million, like you better have this part. Like you need to have the awareness, which is better than ours. And I'm not telling that it's easy, but you should if you want to get the money. Yeah, because
Exactly.
if someone told me, and it's especially in like Czech Republic and Czech like research environment, it's like scientists who's building something like really interesting. It takes him a long time, but throughout the years which he was researching that, he haven't looked outside what's happening. And I think like that's like a huge problem in Czech academic environment, that somebody is so stick with what they're doing that they're not going out looking outside, and are not aware that like the industry have already moved like something totally different, and they are building something for like 5 years prior, and it's like waste of time, but it's waste of money, waste of public money, because researchers are like working for public money, and waste of potential. And therefore I need like, it's really important that the people who are building something needs to understand the environment they are building it for. And that's really important, like mindset. I think it's like in general technology, but like in deep tech is much more like important.
Okay. Um, we have already talked a bit about the challenges that you consider are there, but now from your point of view, once you already invest into one of the startup of your portfolio, so what type of help and what type of support you are working with them from your point of view that can make them achieve their goals? Like if we can talk about maybe even comparing it with a story that you have with your current portfolio.
Yeah, like I think the most important part is like direction. It sounds like the VC is not adding value, but like those regular calls with the founders are really important. Because the main goal of the founder is build the technology and the startup. But we are lucky to have like overview on what's happening, and are giving like a little bit of like push to the higher potential of the founder. But it sounds like it's just yeah, go, yeah, you have to be speaker, and so no. It's like, guys, now is the right moment. Now we feel it that if you go outside, it will be a good thing to do. And we have like 500 funds which would be interested for that. We will connect you with them. We will help you to set out a pitch, and we will be helping throughout the process. And it's like guiding, because we are quite soon. We are pre-seed seed, and most of the time we are building it so it's ready for like Series A investors. And Series A investors have like specific requirements on what they are like want to invest to, and they rely on us to prepare it such that it's interesting for them, because they know that they need to move it further, and they know based on their experience what should happen if they want to go further. So it's like a journey. It's like a journey, and you have like most of the time like one partner, but when somebody brings 5 million euros, they're most interested into it. So they want to push it a lot further. But we like specifically we are helping like to guide the technology in the direction which they are developing it, because they're very often they are coming to us to have give them device in like where should they build the technology towards to, because lots of the time they tell you like when you're talking to other investors, like they don't understand what we are doing. And
Hmm.
I think it's really helpful if you have someone who's actually understanding what you are building and where you are heading, and giving you like a guidance, or when he thinks is the best space to build it towards. And we have like many situations that are like, yeah, we're building this infra means infrastructure project. That's really cool. Yeah. But right now we found like this really niche use, and we want to focus on the niche use. No, guys, don't do it. Yeah, but we will have revenues. Yeah, don't do it. Build it a little bit further. Get it to the big guys. Don't be happy with this. And it's really often this one. And then often it happens that there's some like big break in what they're doing, and it's like, yeah, so we are back to the infra because we found out that it's the best thing to do. It's like, yeah, yeah, we told so. Like, we are not pushing them. We cannot like tell them you will have to do this. It's like, like a best advice from someone who understands what you're doing. And we had like such a cases all the time. And it's really good to have like feedback from them. Like, yeah, we are building. Yeah, now we see this is great. Like, let's go, but let's move, and it's going great. Another thing is like helping with the hiring a little bit, especially in regards to marketing and go to market and sales, which is that's what the technology founders are missing most of the time. And contacts, of course. Like, it's always helpful to have someone who has like direct call to the NVIDIA or to Microsoft or to Google. And once we see that the project is ready, we just call the guys and tell them you should look at it. And that's the big moments which are helping the companies a lot.
Great, great. So thanks for sharing that. So now if we move a bit towards your ideas of the biggest opportunities into these big areas that you are covering, like AI, biotech. I know that you already mentioned some of the portfolio startups that you have, like, but do you have any, let's say, vision towards what industries are gonna benefit the most out of the AI revolution or out of the biotech? For example, you mentioned this biotech and creating plants which can generate electricity, for example, right? So do you see this as, okay, we will have cities with these technologies, so that's the future where it goes, or do you believe in, or you see other industries where there is potential that these technologies can be helpful?
I think we have got to the point where the software overrun hardware, and we are finding out the ways how to tackle that. And for me personally, the drive is pushed by a need for compute from AI. And it's solved by different approaches which can help fit this need. Because on the one way, you have like really strong usability for AI. Yeah, it unlocks like unlimited powers in some cases. And it unlocks so much possibilities that when I started to look at it, I was really afraid. If you like realize where it can go. And I think it's our responsibility to direct the technology in the good manner, that it's of a use of the humanity and not towards its destruction. And I think there are like steps which needs to be accomplished before that. So you will not have AGI right away. You will have several building blocks which are being built one step at a time. And we want to invest in these individual steps, which are bringing AI to the broader public. And I think it's really connected to the semiconductors because it needs to be powered by something, and we literally reached our limit of what we are capable of getting from the physical space which we are having. So there are like new architectures of the chips and so on. And it flows into the other topic, which is quantum. And there's the comparison of the, like, I think there's literally a comparison of the horses and the car. Because if you wanted like a strong wagon, you needed more horses, so that's a computer. But if you want to like switch gears and get to another level and new possibilities, that's quantum. And in quantum, you're not so much limited by physical space. And I think that's a breakthrough which will be in the future. And not just that, but the approach there. And for example, like with the tech bio or biotech, it's like biotech is drug discovery and tech bio is platforms which are doing drug discovery. It's the example of unlocking new possibilities with the technologies of AI. Mainly, like that's a great example. I think biotech represents what can be done using AI, and I think Cellulose story will be all around the world. It's just we just don't see it because the technology is there, the current state is here, and we need to find like a space or connection between that, between like the big manufacturing plant on like steam cells or something like that, and then you have like a new AI driven approach for maintenance. I don't know, and it's such like mentally, not physically, but mentally, it's such far from each other that I think like the biggest challenge will be to basically get the people who are deciding what's happening or what's gonna happen to believe in these kind of things and being able to adopt them. It's already happening, but it's layer by layer. You go like less technology company, and so we want to like help the AI transformation from the point of like niche use cases and from point of like infrastructure to get us there, basically.
Okay. Uh, I know we have a short time now, so based on the meeting that we have for today, but it would be, of course, interesting for later, have a follow-up in the future, of course. But I want to, for now, come back to your value with partnerships and stuff like that. I have personally seen that you have collaborated with, for example, or you visit few days back, I think the CERN Venture Connect conference, and I know you have other, of course, partnerships. So can you comment about these type of partnerships you are doing, about, for example, with CERN and with other entities, if you can share them, of course.
With CERN, it was a good story because in one moment they decided that they want to connect to the innovation environment and help people to access the technologies they're having. And from that, they picked like limited amount of partners from each country, and they wanted to share this new approach they're having, and help connect to the people who are enabling innovation in Europe, basically. And we went there as a partner, like the side of investors, and were presented with technologies there who can be useful in practical applications. And we're discussing about possibility of investment there. I think we are the only fund from Czech Republic, maybe CE, who was there, and it was given by the like kind of like complexity of the topics, but also by the limitation they get that there's just like one partner for each country. I think there was like Startup Kitchen also, but it was like community part of the whole visit. And yeah, they showed us the accelerator, not physically because it was under the ground, but they expressed like interest to be of use of humanity, so to say, in more practical manner. So we should help them with that a little bit. And I think another good partnership we have is with Academy of Science, and we're helping them to basically evaluate interesting technologies they are having, and to determine like which ones are the worth of supporting, and ideally in the future to invest in some of those. And yeah, I think it's really productive because there are like many really interesting technologies throughout the whole Czech Republic, but the infrastructure for transfer is not here yet. It's not viable yet, and it needs to get to some shape so we can get international investors interested in investing in these topics. So yeah, that's what we're doing, and of course we are connected to NVIDIA, we are connected to Intel and other players. Basically, wherever some technology projects are being cooked, we are trying to be there.
Okay. If may I follow up on this conversation you mentioned about the academic in the Czech Republic. So what is missing to be able to bring more university projects to practical and business level. So if you can comment in short terms, like, what is missing for that?
Yeah, I was actually discussing this with the city of Prague quite recently, and this special topic. And from my point of view, there is like a missing step after the academy and before the investors. It's like not like it's also like technological transfer, but it's more like venture building. Yeah, it's like incubation, not just on like POCs and so on, but like preparation, all the important parts which needs to be there for the technology and the startups to be viable, and have the package which is investable by investor. And that takes some knowledge, takes some time, and takes some skill set and contacts. So I think we are missing the most some like literal like venture building. Yeah, the venture building in this area, because like when we see interesting technology, we sometimes have a time to support them with like providing like additional person who is like the business guy who will help them to get up above. But all the other essence needs to be there, and that's manageable. But if you have just a research and you need to get get it to the market, you need like so much parts which are missing there that this needs to be tackled at this moment. The scientist who has really interesting project and needs someone who to help him to drive it towards some like real business. Yeah, that's the point.
Okay. Yeah, so if I make an analogy with this concept of corporate venture building, is something
Yes,
like
it's
how
like
to
that.
do that model
We
with
actually
that.
are doing it. We're actually doing it like not intentionally, but out of need, because sometimes we find something like really cool, but we see that there's someone missing. So we're trying to like fill up the role and help them a little bit to get there. But once we see is there, it's like, yeah, let's go. We cannot like
Okay.
operate the company. We cannot be there to like every day, but we can be there like, okay, you need this, and like supply it with someone who we know or space which we can provide. And that's it. But the main work needs to be done by the founders. The energy needs to be there. When the energy is not there, it's not possible.
Okay. So now for people who are maybe new into this or already into deep tech, but they want to know more about, some resources, events, communities that people can follow, even podcasts if you follow any on these topics. So do you have any resources that you can share? How do you keep learning about these big topics, or not? You are already too busy with the current job that, okay, is more than enough information to process.
Yeah, it's really hard, especially in deep tech, because we need to be up to date with the technology which is there. So I would say like really interesting podcast which I'm liking is Uppersky. No, no. I would say like on the technology matter, like no priors. They are like not that deep, but they're like very interesting. I think they're this semiconductor one. It's like for chip designers. Yeah, I maybe I sent it to like I need to find it in my mind. But then Anderson Horowitz has like really interesting tech podcast, and then there yeah, there's like Lex Friedman sometimes like have like really interesting people, but it's like shallow. Like when you need to get like to the real bottom, you need to go to the semiconductor. I think it's called like semiconductor design or something like that. And or Anastasia in
You can.
tech, like she's really good. She's talking about semiconductors like in like really deep there, and it's really cool.
It's called Anastasia in Tech. So it's a girl, and
Yeah, it's a
she's
girl, and
talking
she's
about.
really capable, like really capable, really good one.
Yeah, well, I didn't mean it like because she was a girl. It was, but I was
Girls can do tech, of course.
no, I
It's
was
girls.
just meaning because, of course, I didn't understand that if this was the name of a girl that you were referring, right? Like because I understand. Good, good.
How could you?
Oh, but don't. You will kill me with these comments now.
No, it's cool.
Yeah, of course, if you have any other suggestions later, feel free to share it to me as a links and we can put it in the
Yeah.
podcast description. So it's
Yeah.
not a problem.
Ondrej Karpaty, he's a really cool. He's a guy from Slovakia, but he's rocking in US really bad. So he's really cool.
You said Andrea Carpati.
Ondrej, the guy. Ondrej Karpaty. Like Ondrej, but Ondrej Karpaty. It's cool.
Okay, got it. So we will look for it and put it in the descriptions of the podcast as well. So, well, since we are running out of time, as a last point, is there something that, as a last point for today, you want to remark and to close for today?
Yeah, for sure. Like for me personally, I always saw that like people with like huge potential in Czech Republic, but with such low ambitions. And I would like Czech Republic to be more prone towards really ambitious projects with great potential, which has like overreach to the whole world, and not try to do something local. Yeah, I think that's something which they are understanding in Tallinn, in Estonia, or in Israel, or in Taiwan. Take a pick. That they are building something which is not for them. It's for like broader community, and I think broader Europe or the space they are global world. And I would like to see something like really huge being built here in Czech Republic, especially in DeepTech. And it would be such a proud moment for like everyone here that like there's some really big things, with like great overreach over our normal functionings or our location. So yeah, that's really cool.
Thanks for that remark. And so, if someone wants to be part of that journey and build these big, ambitious projects in the Czech Republic, so how can they reach you out and maybe help you in that journey?
You can write to Ricardo. Of course, you can reach me throughout like LinkedIn or throughout mail. I believe Ricardo will share it gladly with you, and
yeah,
I will gladly take a look at it and discuss it, and help to evaluate if it's good for us or not. Yeah, and if we want to move it forward, so to say.
Great. So, Andre, thanks for your time today. A pleasure to have this conversation. And yeah, all the best with your portfolio companies and, of course, every partnership and next steps that you will take.
Yeah. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be here.
See you around.